I understand if you believe in Shedeur Sanders, you go, well, if it can be one and done for Shedeur, that means if he goes out there and has the best performance that any rookie quarterback for the Browns has had this year, the opposite should be true. You get the starting job. I still think that when it comes to where he is in his development from the Browns' perspective, I think a win earns you another start. I think a loss probably falls where you think, which is where it's like, maybe we'll see Shedeur in 2026.
I mean, the idea that Dillon was already out on the practice field today, I mean, so there goes the mystery attached to whether or not Dillon's going to be ready by next week, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would think that pretty much is the dead giveaway. That's Stefanski's way of saying, almost like spelling it out for people. This is a one-game tryout. You really have to impress if you want to see it be another game.
And the funny thing is, and I think you and I have both said this in different ways, even Shedeur's not really going to get the credit that he deserves on Monday if the Browns win, because everybody, like Albert came on Tuesday, and it's apparent. Albert's just done with the noise around Shedeur. And people think that means he's got something against Shedeur. I understand why that is. I tend to think Albert just is annoyed by the amount that he gets asked about Shedeur, but I understand. But Albert's not going to come out and be like, that kid was night and day. That kid's the future of the franchise. He might say nice things about Shedeur. I bet you he finds a way, and a lot of people who are in the Stefanski business but not the Shedeur business, a lot of people are going to put that credit towards Stefanski for getting the kid ready to play rather than, oh, hey, that Shedeur kid really surprised the hell out of us on Sunday.
Oh, yeah, no, they're going to be like, I can't believe it. He got him. Especially if Shedeur has the type of game where he's not turning around and running backwards or anything like that. It's like, wait. They cleaned up all these mistakes in a week. Mistakes, no. Hey, people said he couldn't do this in a week, and he got it done in a week. And I'm already getting agitated even just thinking about this, because you're right, it's going to go that direction. But that's fine if that's what we have to do to keep this train going and keep this thing being not only interesting from a Browns fan perspective, but also watching him develop and having him have the opportunities. If that's the cross we have to bear, that's the cross we have to bear.
Can I prepare you for one more thing? Because you are my friend. You are my closest friend in the lineup here. And I don't want you to be just overcome with rage on Monday.
It might happen. I mean, I like the prep, though. I like to think about these things ahead of time.
I will tell you, I think there's a chance Shedeur has a nice game on Sunday. The Browns win, and they still go back to Dillon.
And that will enrage me.
Yeah.
That will enrage me.
I think
that's what scared me about today with the practice thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's partial tipping of the hand. The fact that Stefanski has been non-committal. What if Shedeur plays well? What does that mean for him? And he says, I'm not really thinking about that right now. I think, listen, I think guys who are really enamored with Stefanski outside of Cleveland, they're going to need to see an overwhelming amount of evidence, indisputable evidence that Shedeur is him, as it were. They're going to need to see that on Sunday to change their position or even move just a couple inches on it. By the way, if I feel that way about the guys who know Stefanski, talk to Stefanski, who believe in Stefanski, I kind of think we should just remember how Stefanski treated Dillon in this process, which is give him every opportunity to speed up that development, to be where he needed to be. And the way that he treated Shedeur is more of a long play. I don't think we should allow, again, I don't think we should assume one great game and Shedeur's in for the rest of the time. I just don't think it works that way, and I think we kind of have to prepare ourselves for that.
And I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, though. I really do. I need to see this thing play out, because I'm already getting tweets in here, and people are like, well, what if it goes horribly? And it's like, we just have to play out every scenario today? Is that how this is going to work? I don't know. Our eyes will tell us more on Sunday and how it goes. And yeah, are there going to be people that on Monday, if it doesn't go well, instead of just saying, I was wrong? Because really, it's a game and a half. You really want people to be like, I was wrong on somebody after a game and a half? Like, that just feels too premature. It's why this last Monday, after a really bad half of football, I came in, admitted it was a bad half of football, but I couldn't really do much else. It's just that, a half of a game of football. And I think the people that are already trying to dunk on Shedeur after that is they've shown themselves as being overreactionary and not in a way that I find appeasing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't believe in Dillon Gabriel, right? Still don't. The idea that Shedeur could play well on Sunday and not be the starter in the very next game after that against San Francisco is as infuriating to me as it is to you, even though I'm Switzerland and you're a supporter. At the same point, I wasn't rooting against Dillon Gabriel when I watched him play. And I think what's interesting is I think there are still a lot of self-proclaimed Browns fans who are rooting against Shedeur on Sunday, and that I don't get. I would I wish to heavens I was wrong on Dillon Gabriel and that he was actually a legit 6 foot and that he actually could do things physically. Because guys, I don't want to watch another second of crappy quarterback play. I've done it. I've seen it all. All right, I'm the oldest man in the world that's lived to see everything, and now it's time to see Jesus. All right, I need that light. I want the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. Right. So I don't understand the segment of fans out there who just don't want this to be the thing, or who honestly at this point, and it's not just fans. It's guys in the media who would rather be right about Shedeur being bad or being this, that, or the other, rather than just being like, well, I got that run wrong, and that kid's really good, and now I guess we have a starting quarterback for the next X amount of years.
They miss the point of this often then. We're like Evel Knievel. We get paid for the attempt. That's the reality of it. You don't have to be proven right or wrong. Why don't you just root for the team to be interesting and fun and have a good Sunday?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that, because the second I saw Dillon was back at practice today, I was like, oh, okay, sure. Because that's where we are now.
We know where it's going.
Well, I mean, I think that gets back to the idea.
But that's why this Sunday's important. That's why I think you get one shot if you're Shedeur. You can't blow this.
Yeah, and not just that, but like you get one shot, which might begat another shot. And so, like Jake Murrin, our intrepid producer, and 92.3 the fan. YouTube mod, that's what the word I was looking for. I got the words out eventually, but he had said he came up with a great topic, which is like, what are the odds that Shedeur is the last quarterback that starts this season for the Cleveland Browns? Mm-hmm. And I would put it at like 3%, because it's the second half of the season. I'm putting that first part, I'm putting it on because Browns math, right? I can't recall the last time we had a guy be the third starter, and it's by going into Week 12.
I mean, it'd be Joe Flacco, because he was the fifth starter, and then he started the final 6 games.
But other than that,
though.
Other than that one, I cannot recall. No, I mean, so there's the general Browns math of it, and I think the next week or two is about trying to convert Kevin Stefanski to the supporter.
You have to pull off what Joe Flacco pulled off, though. That is the point. We go to that reference for a reason. Like, you have to pull off what Joe did, where even though he was the 5th quarterback and you had 6 games remaining, you instantly knew that he gave the offense a breath of fresh air and he gave an offense a jolt, and it was undeniable. Okay, even he had the second game back in that whole stretch. There was moments in that the Rams game, for instance, there was an awful interception that Joe had. The way that he does, and it was no one was like, oh, well, now we have to send him to the pine and bring on quarterback number 6. No, it was like, this guy gave you a jolt you hadn't seen before. So like, if Shedeur gives you that, that's how I think they end up riding this thing all the way out. But yeah, it'll take that, and it's a great game to at least be starting this way.
I think that's
this is the game to do it.
That's what makes it so fascinating. This is a good matchup, not just because of the Raiders being booty cheeks, but the kind of defense they play is the kind of defense that Shedeur has had success on in the Carolina game. So there's some through line there. This is not a team that even when they have blitzed has been a very good at blitzing. So like, I think that's a really bad team, and you have a chance. I think your defense is absolutely going to give you a chance against just a dog butt offense in and of its very self in the Las Vegas Raiders. But then you go to, all right, the Browns math. All right, how many times does a guy come in halfway through the season and stabilize the ship? It's Joe Flacco, right? Once you get to this point, 99% of the years for the Browns. Now, this is just the next sacrificial lamb we're about to throw on the volcano to stop it from blowing up, right? Okay, so then you've got that. Then you've got the fact that the Browns are historically bad when rookies start.
Yeah, they're 0-17 is the number since 1999. So it's really awful. But you want to be quote-unquote legendary, then you have to do legendary things.
Like, well, but I think that's the point.
You want to be special, show us special. One thing people loved about Baker, Nick, right out of the gate, not just the Thursday night game against the Jets, but like instantly you started watching all of these records kind of fall away, and all these old numbers we had that was built up just dropped to the wayside, because you had to. If you're going to be that guy, you had to start doing some of that.
Yeah, and I think like that again gets back to the idea of, unless he's otherworldly good or otherworldly bad, like the people that don't like Shedeur are going to say, well, he's playing against the Raiders. And the people that do love Shedeur rightfully are going to say, what about 0-17 with rookie quarterback since 1999?
Which, by the way, that I feel like it should come with some little asterisk, only because the Baker game was a loss. By the way, his first start was against the Raiders, too, oddly enough. But you remember that game. That was the Nick Chubb game. But that was a 45-42 game. Oh, it was an overtime game. So, like, Baker Mayfield and that offense put up 42 points in that loss, okay? If Shedeur does something like that, no one's complaining about it, even if it ends up being a loss.
By the way, the Texas Truth saying the Browns' previous quarterback play has got you discombobulated. It's a new day. You got to let it go. No, a quarterback has to let us, has to help us let it go.
Unfortunately, that is that's the conversation of someone that, and maybe I'm wrong, Texas fan, whatever your name was on YouTube.
The Texas Truth.
The Texas Truth, but like,
you want to get Daryl in here to pronounce that one.
It's really something you had to live for a long time to understand and really get there. It took me a few years to understand. Like, there's just things that happen to the Browns and only the Browns, and there is a Browns math to it all that doesn't exist for other NFL teams that exist here.
So, given that he's a 5th-round pick, given Browns math, given Browns rookie math, I put it like a 3% chance right now today that Shedeur's the last quarterback to start a game for the Browns this season. What's your percentage?
I'm like 25%.
Oh, that's not bad.
I'm much higher, mainly because I think if he balls out, I think if he looks really good, and that's the expectation that I have to have right now. I think if he looks really good, I think he gets a chance for the 49ers. 49ers game is going to be pivotal, but I have just it's too much faith in somebody that's shown me no reason to have faith in them. With Stefanski and this coaching staff, but I just don't know how you ever go back and move off of him if he looks good. I think if the offense shows a pulse, I just don't know how you move off of that.
I think my expectation is that it's going to be interesting. I don't think it's going to be all good interesting. I think there's going to be some bad interesting, but my hope is that there's enough good interesting to win this game. Like, that's, to me, like, I know we're going to get into stat lines, and I do think 89%, and I'm going to go 99% of the outcomes for Shedeur's stat line, I think 99% of them having us arguing on Monday, how good was he really, or how bad was he really, right? There's like 1% of games that he's just so good or so bad, it's undeniable, and you just can't argue. So I think I can already tell that there's a huge Donnybrook coming amongst the Browns masses on Sunday, no matter what Shedeur does. But, like, this is a winnable game, and is he going to be good? Is he going to be bad? I don't know how anyone can say. I just am excited. I'm excited to see something interesting because I already know the Browns when they're bad and not interesting on offense. I'd like to know the Browns when they're, even if they're bad but interesting on offense. At this point, I'll take that because it has just been the wrong mix of completely unwatchable and completely bad.
Well, and it's not as if this just started this year either. I mean, we're going back as a 3-win season last year, and really after the Deshaun injury, I would call it after the Jameis Winston win, the Pittsburgh win, I guess, the Snow Globe game. What have you had to really be like, this is fun? I mean, this is a good time.
Even go to the pre-Joe Flacco times in 2023. Like, P.J. Walker was unwatchable. DTR was unwatchable. Deshaun Watson was certainly not watchable. I think the two stretches of watchable Browns quarterback play that I've gotten since you traded Baker Mayfield has been a couple games of Jacoby Brissett and a couple games of Joe Flacco. The bar is tremendously low, but because it's Shedeur, it also seems to be tremendously high.